We are in the fourth Sunday of our Lenten sermon series entitled Centered in the Spirit. Each week we have looked at a different spiritual practice that is designed to help us become more aware and grounded in our spiritual inner life. We've looked at and practiced centering prayer, confession, and the prayer of examen. This week we're going to look at attentive awareness. I like to think that this practice helped save my life in part this week when I suffered a heart attack. I'll tell you more about that a little later, but first I want to talk about Psalm 104. 104. The psalmist responsible for Psalm 104 seems to be a keen observer of the world around them. We heard this sung version of the psalm in just a little earlier in the service this morning. It was sung by the African Psalm Project. Well, the psalmist seems to observe everything around them. The sun as it courses across the sky, the moon at night, the animals and beasts of the field and forest, sea life teeming in the ocean. Just to be able to list everything and phrase it so poetically requires them to have paid close attention to what is going on in the world around them. How many of us are that observant? With our eyes focused on our TV screens, our computer monitors and cell phones, how much are we missing around us? Just the other day, while I was working on a video at home, I happened to look outside at the fence along the garden. I noticed a large gray-brown shape perched on the fence. I wondered what it was, thinking that maybe it was a large bird, but what kind? Well, I got out my binoculars, only to discover that it was a falcon, a peregrine, I believe, sitting there surveying the garden and backyard. I watched it just sit there for a long time. Flew into the willow and even up into the pergola for a bit. After a couple of hours, it flew away. If I hadn't looked up from my computer screen, I would never have seen it. I wonder how much is going on in our world that we never notice, just because we aren't attentive to that world. So practices such as mindfulness, meditation, contemplation, centering prayer have been practiced around the world for thousands of years. Focused attention, calming the ever-busy and scattered mind, taming the wild horses of thought, directing one's intentions towards that which is of greatest benefit for others. These are all bedrock practices for the expansion of consciousness of the bigger mind, the justice-oriented compassion of bigger heart, and the reintegration into a bigger world. Attentive awareness is a means to direct your attention to what is going on around you. You can train up your attention and focus by practicing then any or all of these following practices that I want to talk about today. So the first practice is sensory immersion in the environment. And you can do this practice anywhere, wherever you are, actually. You can do it in your backyard, in a park, out on a trail in the mountains, by a lake or river, wherever, actually. So you find a place to sit comfortably and where you can sit still for a long period. After taking a few deep breaths, slowly look around you. Pay special attention to everything you see. Taking in one thing at a time. Listen to every sound, picking out one specific sound at a time. Then moving on to another sound, then another, and so on. Let your gaze sweep slowly around you. Let the images, sounds, physical sensation, the cool breeze, the warmth of the sun, come into your awareness without any judgment or evaluation or comment on your part. Simply notice. A variation of this is walking attentiveness. And so you walk slowly around any given place. Stopping, yes, to smell flowers, smell the rotting leaves, smell the water on stone. Notice how the light casts shadows, glistens off water droplets, brings out the color in flowers, color in the leaves. Notice pollen in the air or on the leaves. Follow the path of a bee. Watch a spider spin a web. Sit and listen to the birds warbling and chittering to one another. Listen to a slug chew on a leaf. Don't laugh. I actually have heard a slug chew on a leaf because I was listening carefully. Or listen to an ant drag a leaf across the sand. Simply take everything into your awareness. That's sensory immersion in the environment. Some other practices attend to the body. And so another way to increase attentive awareness is to be attentive and aware of what is occurring within our bodies. So the first variation of this is, as usual, find a comfortable, relaxed posture that you can maintain for some time. Usually helpful to close your eyes so you can focus your other senses on your internal physical state. As you sit, take stock of how your body feels. Where are your points of discomfort or pain? Do you feel warm or cool? Are there stiff muscles or aching joints? Is there a wound that's healing? Then turn your attention internally. How does it feel to take deep breaths? How does your throat feel? What's happening in your digestive tract? So here's a note. This particular practice can have physical benefits as you become aware of things going on in your body that might require medical attention. For instance, this week at work, I started to experience a touch of nausea, along with a pain in my chest and across my back. Persisted at home. And instead of trying to tough it out, I asked Zhuzha to phone 911 just in case. And sure enough, I was having a heart attack. If I hadn't been attentive to what was going on in my body, I might not be here now, making this video, talking to you. So yeah, pay attention to your body. A variation of this practice is to find a level, safe place to move around in. And you can do this in a room at home, away from the furniture. But you begin in a standing position. And keeping your eyes open so you don't fall, slowly move a hand, and then the whole arm. Let the other hand and arm move also. Move in a free-form fashion, just allowing your body simply to move. Take gentle steps in no particular pattern. Notice how it feels to move. Where does it feel? Stiff or sore? Pay attention to your breath. Notice your heart rate, which is what I'm having to do more now. Does it speed up? Slightly, slow down? Can you feel your pulse? Maybe. What are the limits to your movements? Do not persist in any movement that is painful, but note where the pain is. Also take note of how much activity causes you to become winded or what seems to rejuvenate you. As I noted earlier, this particular practice can have physical benefits as you become aware of things going on in your body that might require medical attention. Another practice of attentive awareness is called one-pointed eating. You don't eat things that are pointed, but you focus your attention on what you are eating. So if you're alone at a meal, instead of watching TV or scrolling through your cell phone, which are things I'm guilty of doing, or even reading a book, every once in a while just simply focus your attention on what you are eating. Turn off any music you may be listening to during the meal. Look at your food. Notice the colors, the shape and the form of the food. Take several deep breaths to smell the food. What are the various aromas that you can discern? With each bite, notice the physical sensation on your tongue. How hot or warm or cool is it? What are the textures of the food in your mouth? How moist or dry is the food? What are the various flavors? Can you detect differing flavors as the food passes over different regions of your tongue? What sounds do you hear as you eat? As you finish your meal, spend a moment sitting and allowing the experience of eating in this way to consolidate in your awareness. So these are a few practices to increase your attentive awareness of the world around you and the world within you. May they all help to enrich your life, deepen your spirit, and maybe even save your life.